Well, I'm going to start patching this fender here. The other one's pretty close, but I need to get this shape where the majority of this big hole is in this fender. This part, I think I need to kind of work out of both. Got to get this to the rough shape and size, and then that'll determine this a little bit. So I'll show you how I did this. I just took a vise here, opened a couple inches, and I can just whack it here and put a pretty nice curve. But right here is the area. It's kind of hard to do one-handed, but that's about 10 inches or so. And I've got this pretty close to the shape. Starts right here at the corner, and I've got it fitting good enough on the outside. Of course, the inside radius is 3/8 smaller, so I'm gonna finish fitting this up. I'm gonna take this fender off, flip it around, and make sure that this rod is the right radius for the inside. And then I'll weld it into the fender on the other side, and I can start working on that big hole. So let me get this off and mark it. Well, this is pretty close to where I want it, and I just sprayed a little paint on there to kind of mark the fender where I want it to go. If of course, if this moves around, that whole radius, shape, and everything changes. But I had marked it right there with that big silver mark about where I wanted it in the other fender. Now I just have to take that other fender off, put this in the right place, and weld it in. And I got my brace in here in the same place and tacked in. Looks like I'll burn a few holes in it, but crash bang, it's going to be good enough there. Yeah, I can already see this. Got a nice curve to it. And I got it approximately where the middle of the hole is. Now I need to start cutting this up. It's all been beat up all the way up into here. I'm going to try to, looks like that was the edge right there of the dent. So I guess that'll be the first part. Let me beat this out a little more to kind of take the stress out of that fender. But I think if I cut this right in the middle of the rod, square hole here, I'll be able to tack it into the rod, which will give me a good smooth corner, and then wherever it comes out up here is what I'll use. I don't really have any sheet metal that's that size. The only thing I've got is big enough is this old stainless steel. Might as well use it. I can make this whole patch out of it. I don't know if I ought to work on this ripped out side first. Try to maybe I try to put a good patch there in the top. And let the whatever stress is going to be created doing that, I'll take it up with that hole, make another patch for it. I think I'll do the same thing, cut me a curve in here, and just weld a stainless piece in here. It's pretty straight, so I can take it up to like around in here somewhere, because this is all bad. This is just tacked together to roughly hold it. Got a compound curve. It's kind of hard to beat something like that out. And I've still got a lot of patches that need to be done here. I think I'll weld that up while I'm waiting. Here's a solution I come up with. I cut me a patch here, and I bent it and tacked it onto the center of the bar. But I really couldn't bend it anywhere, and this stainless is a lot thicker than the, especially right in here where this is really rusted out. So what I've been doing is just splitting it about 1.5 inches. I was trying it over here with 2 inches. It's just too big, but I just split it with a cutter. And once I got the piece cut, then I take a little curved dolly that's the same shape as this basically, and I pound the section. I beat it into the rough shape, beat it into submission, as Rat Bob says, and then tack it. And I cut this a little wrong, so I got a pretty big hole up in here. Then I've been using a little piece of coat hanger and tacking that. It's a slow process, but I think I'm almost done. 2 more. I'll do this one, and then this one will probably be my final one. But this will give me this whole top of this fender will be solid, and probably the next piece that'll, because down here this is just going to be tin. I don't know, I might don't know what I'll do with that. It might be a good idea to do it just like I did this, but do it in 2-inch pieces and just put all this together. I don't know, maybe a cut one and put it in here. But anyway, it's a lot of welding and cutting, and this is just tacked in. But once I've got it to where it's holding the rough shape of the fender, I can take my dolly and beat this out to where it's the right curve. This was a really good idea, putting this piece of half or a piece of 3/8 round in there. So I'll just go ahead and press on. I'll show you, everybody else got some tools going on, and I'll just give you a little tool view. Real close to where I did my final cut, and you can see now that this is you can see how it's much easier to bend this one end and patch it up, and I'll just use a dolly, get it to the rough shape, and then just tack it again. And then I'll probably go over here and see where this one needs to be cut. Looks like I'm pretty close there to the end. I probably ought to move my clamp around here to the bottom and weld this last piece on the bottom. And that's probably what I should do, is do this last piece first. And then any gap or anything I can take up between these two. So I'll get this figured out and cut, weld in the bottom, bring it back. This last one here, I just zip cut it right through the fender and clamped it in there. Tack welded this one corner. It's still kind of straight, so it's wanting to pull this this fender out a little, and I tacked it right here on the bottom. So now I'll take my dolly. Looks like this one's got to have a little cut right out of here at the top, and this one will probably be alright. And I'll hammer these into shape, and then I'll show you that. Alright, that's pretty good, close as I can get it anyway. It's looks like it's got a pretty nice curve to it. It's going down and matching that rod, of course, so it has to be good there. And I've got the top part. It's got a pretty decent curve to it. You can see here. It was a lot of work, and I'm not done by any means. But at least I've got this first big patch in. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to the back and finish welding it up with the coat hanger, and then I can grind off this front and try to make it smooth. It's another big bottom piece. Like I said, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I can bend this stuff 2 inches pretty easy. I may just take 2-inch strips and put them across there. I think before I do any of that, I'll get all that bottom right there where that hole is, get that all solid, so I got something to pull to. Basically all that sheet metal we see there is just there's nothing there, so it's got to go all the way out to here. So don't look too bad. Find my wire brush here and clean it up a little. Doesn't make any difference. You can see what I got. Well, this is a lot of flex in here. It's bent real bad. So I decided I'd try to get this more or less fixed. So what I'm going to try to do is, this is all pretty solid right here. It gets bad over here. It's been welded, but this is pretty good, and I've got it clamped to the rod. My rod ends about right here, so what I thought I would do is cut me a fairly square piece across here and a round edge, and try to weld this to the rod and up into the fender. That'll give me a sideways twist strength. So I'm going to cut it right here where it's cracked, up into here somewhere, and right here where it's still pretty good up, and we'll see what kind of a patch I can put in that. There's one little patch done. I got it to a pretty nice curve right here, and I hammered this in a little to sort of match that, but basically it's keeping it from moving this way. This section right here, this is holding it onto the rod, and this is holding it onto the fender. I got a pretty nice bend in it right there. This piece, I left it on there because it's actually, when it's clamped, it's holding this to the rod pretty good. It's, you can kind of see it moving there. It's not strong, and it's not welded right here at all. I think my best bet would be to make another little piece like this, cut it just like I did this one, and weld it to the center of this round rod, and take it up there at about where that first cut is. I can't make real big pieces. They don't want to bend, but I think I can do this one right across here. I think that's what I'll do, just cut that across there. I don't know how much this is holding. I don't think I've got it welded at all. No, it's just bending. Just flexing right there. So even though that's a pretty good piece, it's really not any good. It's rusted out all along the corner there, and it's been welded. So anyway, I'm going to try to just cut that off, probably up here somewhere, straight across to here, and make me another piece for that. And that way I can get this whole, this is not welded into anything right here. So if I get a good piece, I can get this whole section across here parallel. I can put a piece of straight iron across there and clamp it on both sides, and that'll make the middle of it straight. So cut that out, try to make a piece, then we'll clamp it up and see how straight we can get it. And here's the second patch. They are curved just a little, but I've got a slope here. I've got a pry bar here that's pretty flat. I'm gonna clamp this thing on here, and this should straighten my fender out. I'll get it clamped up here and see what it looks like. I just squished it a little right here in the middle. What I'm trying to do is get these two pieces flush right here. I didn't clamp it all the way because I'm not trying to make the fender flat there. I'm just trying to get generally between these 2 points here straight. So I'm going to tack it right in here, and over here on the other side, these are perfectly flush right here. So I'll tack that, and that should give me a pretty good piece that I can, once I tack it, I'll take the clamp off, tack it a couple more places, then I can hammer and dolly it into a curve. So we'll tack it and see what it looks like. Well, that tack looked pretty good. I got just a little bit of bump in it, not much. It's a little high here, low right there. But I can put a dolly on it and hammer that out pretty straight, and then I'll try to see what I can do about getting this section matched. I need to get this straight across here, or at least an even curve. It don't look too bad, but I think I can dolly it into better shape, and I can probably put one more patch right in here over this big square spot. This has been, it's ripped, and I just temporarily tacked it together because it was all bending. So I'll try to get this dollied into shape and work on my next patch. Well, there's this. Feels good across here. Needs a little beaten out this way, I think. But just tacked here. Pretty straight. Shouldn't take much to sort that out. Actually pretty good. See, from this angle, it's fairly straight with the fender. All of this, once the patch is in, can be pounded out but really not too bad. Looks like this whole area right here has got a, well, it's actually pretty good. Just a little lip right there. This is pretty straight. I don't know if I'll try to put another patch in there. Probably should. It's in pretty good shape, but I know it's cracked and it'll crack again. I didn't do a lot of grinding on this because it's all the weld is on the outside. I'm gonna grind that off and see what it looks like. Don't actually look too bad. It's a little mismatch in it, but it's pretty good. It's real good right in here. See right there, it's almost perfect. It looks like I got the front a little higher than this one, but all in all, that's not so bad. I wish I had a weak welder. I could let a little more bead right in here. That would be plenty good for Bondo. I still have to weld it again on the back. But anyway, this hole right there is my next concern. I think once I get that patched up, weld it all the way around, and I'll go to work here on this really bad spot. But that's gonna basically make the fender real solid. Well, I got that done, and tacked in from the outside. Can't really tell here in the camera, but it's got a pretty nice curve to it. But it's burning through, so I'm going to clean it up and try to weld this here from the inside. I think if I take my time, I'll be able to get it pretty good without burning through. But this is a pretty nice patch. Got a good curve to it. Sure was a lot of work, and I'm still not done yet. I welded and welded on this thing. Burn holes everywhere. And just can't seem to get it. I think I did figure out something here. I put the welder here on 75 wire feed. That's pretty fast from where I had it. And I can make little beads across like that. They're pretty good, but you can see it's burning holes and warping it. It just is really a problem. So I'm kind of giving up on this part today. The curve is good, but that's about it. I'm just burning through too much. It's taking forever, losing a lot of wire. And then I grind off 90% of what I put on. But I think I've got it a little bit better technique. But I think I'm going to call it quits for today. Come back when I'm fresh and try to finish this thing tomorrow.